Hi, this is Sha Nacino, your host for the Author's Voice podcast. And our next guest is a chartered accountant and management accountant and has completed an executive education program from Harvard Business School. She is a professional speaker, a high performance business coach, credentialed from International Coaching Federation, as well as a best selling author and an award winning author. I'm so pleased to welcome to the show Sangeeta Shankaran Sumesh. Hi, Sangeeta.
Hi, Shah. It's nice to reconnect with you again.
Yes, same here. So Sangeeta was in the Philippines in November 2019. She was one of the speakers during the Global Authors Summit, and we're so blessed because she came all the way from India to bless our participants in the Philippines.
Yes, and congratulations to you. You did a fabulous job, and I'm really impressed that you're doing this podcast as well and helping and reaching out to so many budding authors to come up with their books. Awesome.
Thank you, and thank you because you're here and you'll be sharing your insights, especially on high performance business coach. So before we talk about your main topic, I'd like to ask you, what are you most grateful for right now?
Oh, so many things. Despite the pandemic and the lockdown, I think it's really lovely that my family and I are safe and I'm able to work from the comfort of my home. I've taught my kids some life skills, and with the help of technology, I'm able to contribute to the high performance of businesses by doing some online sessions and networking and utilizing my time as productively as I can.
Cool. So our topic for this afternoon, for today, is what the finance by the high performance business coach. So WTF, what the F finance?
Absolutely, yes.
All right. So you've written, you're a best-selling author and you're an award-winning author as well.
Right.
Who inspired you to become an author?
Oh, to tell you the truth, Shah, I never had plans to write. I never even thought of, considered writing. A family vacation to Cambodia is what triggered my writing process because I visited the killing fields there.
Mm-hmm.
And the story there was too much for me to digest. It was, there was a mass genocide between 1970 and 74, and people were butchered mercilessly. So, even now when you visit the killing fields, you'll find pieces of bones and nails, and, it really does something to you. Mm-hmm. So that just left me with a thought of, what happens if man becomes so cruel? And unknowingly, I had kind of weaved a story in my head about it. And, a little voice told me, why don't I write about it? And then I said, but who's going to read it? I'm not an author. So, this is not what I need to be doing. I kept pushing aside this thought, but the story kept coming back to me. And after about a year, luckily, I chanced upon a 100-day book authoring challenge. And that's what drove my book to completion. And I still wasn't sure, how will the book be received? What will people say? And all that. But thankfully, the book did very well, and that's what got me the award as well as one of the 100 inspiring authors of India. So that's why I said, there is an author in each one of us.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And what was the first book that you wrote?
Yeah, the first book is called The Glance of the Unknown.
The Glance of the Unknown.
It's a spiritual thriller.
Okay. So is it a fiction book?
Yes.
Oh, spiritual thriller. This is the first time I heard of the term spiritual thriller.
Absolutely, yes.
Does it have anything to do with what you saw in Cambodia, the killing fields?
No, but that was what triggered the idea in me. It has nothing to do with Cambodia, but that's where I got inspired to write.
Okay, cool. So you're a high performance business coach. How long have you been doing it, and what do you do as a high performance business coach?
Right. So I've been a high performance business coach for about close to 3 years now. And first I need to tell you what coaching is. Coach, normally people think it's a domain expert, but a coach need not be a domain expert, right? A coach partners with the client, provokes the thoughts, kindles new thoughts just to see how you can maximize your personal and professional potential. So thereby what happens is whatever challenges that you have, you're able to overcome your challenges, because if you have a challenge, you have the solution to it as well, right? Mm-hmm. So that is what I do as a coach. And what the beautiful thing that I realized is originally I started off coaching individuals on their personal issues. But as I, progressed, I realized that my expertise being a finance professional and having a lot of corporate experience for about 25 years, I said it'll be good if I'm able to blend the two and help businesses from all their business issues, especially the financial issues. One of the common reasons why most businesses fails is improper financial management. So I developed that as my niche now, and that my second book, like that's why it's called What the F, What the Finance. So
Yes.
yeah, so I was able to, it's funny because when I wrote the first book that was out, is a fiction. Most people assumed it was a finance book because coming from a finance professional. So they asked me, where's the finance book? So I was wondering, what do I write? Because normally finance, many people find it challenging. They find it boring. It's like, it's not my cup of tea. And especially business owners, I think they definitely need to get a hang of their finances, because tell me, why does a business exist? I'm asking you. Yeah, just make money, right? Any business. So unless you're in control of your finance, your business is not going to do really well. So, it was funny again. So when people started telling me to write in finance, I was a little reluctant about it, because I said, finance people consider it a little dry, and, they may not be able to relate to it. And I said, most people know everything about finance. That was the impression I was under. And then luckily, an acquaintance, who's pretty senior in his role with a corporate job, decided to become an entrepreneur, and he came to me for some help. And as I started kind of coaching him, is when I realized that even though people may be senior in their roles and have a good amount of experience, the financial knowledge could be a bit of a challenge. And so I said, I was able to identify this problem. It was an issue. And I said, why don't I simplify finance and make people, handle their business finance in a better manner? So that's exactly why I wrote this book. That's why I gave it the title also, like What the F, because people then tend to think, hey, what is this? Okay. And so what I've done is I've given them the practical solutions to common problems and how they can go about, and then I've concluded each section with some thoughts for reflection to see how they can improvise and get things better on their finance. So explained it in a very simple and easy to understand with practical actions.
Right.
So they can business. Yeah.
And I think that's exactly what we need. I don't know why. For example, for me, I love math. And when I was still studying, math was my favorite subject. But for some reason, when I was in college, I really did not like accounting. I can't seem to understand accounting. So why is that? I haven't really figured out why someone who loves numbers can have a really difficult time with accounting. Why do you think so?
I'm not sure why that should be the case, because the two go hand in hand. But having said that, math is more, you're just applying your mind, just doing the calculations from top of your head. But accounting is probably, you'll have to just think through a little deeper, more than just the numbers. The numbers is just the tip of the iceberg. So you'll have to think through to see how can I get the numbers better. So I guess that's what creates the difference.
Cool. And good that you're writing that book and make it simple for people like me, entrepreneurs like me, to to understand accounting, because that has been a challenge for me.
I'm sure you will rock it.
Thank you. So, Sangeeta, I like how you were able to marry accounting, which is numbers, and also writing. So you're writing a book on accounting. Um, how did being a CFO or corporate leader help you in your journey as an author?
Right. So, being the CFO and having about 25 years of experience in corporate has kind of given me a good base and a foundation. So that is what I'm amplifying now. I'm capitalizing on all my experience and knowledge that I've gained. And, in fact, in What the Finance as well, I've given a lot of practical tips, so which is what people want. So I think that way it has helped. So, combination of my finance expertise, like you said, married the two, and then see what best I can offer to the entrepreneurs and business people. So also what has happened is, as a coach, what I do is I coach the people first. So when I say I coach, a coach normally doesn't give solutions to your problems. So what I do is again, I kind of marry the role of being a coach and an advisor. So I have a coaching conversation with my clients at first and see what exactly are their challenges and how they can overcome it. And thereafter, when they start to get solutions and then they're, having multiple ideas, and then I chip in as an advisor to see what is the best way out for them. So that kind of becomes my USP, where I'm able to give, act as a coach as well as an advisor.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, in your from your experience, having coached a lot of high performance business leaders, what is the single most problem that they experienced?
Cash flow issues. So, handling cash flows is something that people have sleepless nights, like wondering how am I going to pay the salaries next month, or, when the basic things to keep the business going. Because many times I find people tend to take financial decisions on an emotional level rather than a rational level. So it has to be a kind of, more rational, and of course, emotions, we are all human. So we do have emotions as well, but you'll have to take conscious decisions that way.
Mm-hmm. And I'm quite curious how you were able to juggle your time. You're an active member and an officer of the Professional Speakers Association in India. You're also a parent, and you're a wife, and you're a CFO. You're working, and you're writing your book. So how do you make time to write your book?
Okay, so for me, I don't write every day, right?
Okay.
But I have a kind of a different routine that I follow. So as soon as I start working on a book, like currently I've already started to work on my next book, which is on high performance for individuals, more on self-help, and like exactly you said, how to manage time, and different issues like that is what it's going to address. So what I do first is I construct all my thoughts, just in my mind. So I give it like an overall frame, an overall picture. And when do I do this? I normally, mornings when I'm working out, I like to go for long walks. So the morning is the time when I kind of put all my thoughts together to see how exactly I'm going to shape up the book, and what are the features that I want it to have. So once this is kind of clear in my mind, then I make it like a kind of a mind map, and I start writing. And the writing that I do in the initial part is quite unstructured, just write whatever thoughts that come to my mind, like, different little sections or case studies or stories or whatever. I just put them all together. And then later on, I get on to rearranging them and then, editing them. And I also give myself a little bit of space, in the sense, if I've written something, let's say 2 days ago, and then I don't look at it for the next 2 days. I look at it with a fresh mind again to see, if I can improvise on it, or, what better can I do about it, or anything different that comes up to my mind, because, the human mind has so many thoughts at all the time. So just to see how best you can put them all together so that the book becomes meaningful to the reader.
Right. I like what you said about taking long walks in the morning. I also love doing my gratitude walks because it clears my mind and it also gives me fresh ideas.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm-hmm. So, Sangeeta, you seem to have a lot in your plate. What advice can you give someone who wants to write a book, but he or she says, I don't have time?
Oh, if they're really keen about writing a book, I'm sure they'd find a way to write the book. But I also find that on a subconscious level, a lot of times what prevents people from actually taking the plunge is the fear of failure. Because that's what I went through as well with my first book. I was really reluctant to say, what will people say? Will they like it? Will they kind of trash me out? It's not good and all that. But unless you try, you never know. See, when I wrote the book, I never thought I was going to get an award. Even when I wrote What the Finance, I never expected it to be a bestseller. So you never know where and what it can lead you to. And to also add on, I've been getting a lot of my business clients, for my business coaching. It's through the book. So the book can be a very good lead generation. So, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
Yeah. So unless you go out there and prove your authority, you never know. So, and it can open up so many different things. I mean, I came to Philippines because of my book. I mean, that's why you invited me.
Yes,
So, yeah.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And you're on this podcast because of your book, because you're an author, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your speaking journey. You're a speaker. How did you start as a speaker?
Oh, that's pretty funny. Because about 22 years ago, I used to host a TV show in here
Oh,
in India. Yeah.
uh-huh.
It was right after my college, and that was more for time pass and more for fun. Of course, they did pay me something, but it was more out of the fun and just to be featured on the TV, because those days we didn't have so many options, right?
Right.
So it was fun. It was more like a part time that I started there. So I compared in the TV for about close to a year. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but then once I started focusing on my profession and my career, I said, this was anyway, I was considering it as a time pass at that time. So I kind of left it.
Mm-hmm.
And I got married. I was living in South Africa for 8 years. So we used to
Mm-hmm.
have, a lot of, gatherings there and a lot of events that used to keep happening. And because people kind of recognized me from the TV show, they said, no, you need to be the host for this, So all the shows out there, like I was kind of always being the host, taking it forward. So I guess, those kind of things kind of built up my professional speaking ability, because I realized I had to kind of keep improving on this talent. And when I came back to India, I was invited to give a lot of guest lectures and address many organizations on different matters, especially on finance and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
then it slowly started building, and that's when I chanced upon the professional speaking. I never realized it could be kind of a career for people to look upon. So that gave me a lot of new perspectives, new learnings, and now so I'm trying to sharpen my skills to see how I can better and be a better professional speaker in what I'm doing.
Okay. So as a professional speaker, what topic do you usually speak on?
Yes, so I focus on three things. One is business finance, of course. Two is high performance, because high performance is something that everybody wants. I mean, be it organizations, be it individuals, everybody wants to put in their best. So I speak about high performance, and high performance is simply put achieving superior results by performing at high standards. So that is the theme of it, and to see how you can keep improvising your own self in whatever area of your choice. And the third topic that I speak on is on leadership.
Hmm. Okay. You seem to have a really creative way of weaving together everything you're passionate about. So business finance is also related to high performance, and it's also related to leadership. So you speak mainly on the C level, uh,
Yes,
the C suites, the executives, CEOs.
yes.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Yeah, and
And
also to entrepreneurs and business owners.
right, right. Uh-huh. What is most exciting about what you do? Do you get excited the most as a coach or as a speaker or as an author?
Oh, to be honest about everything, as long as I get a good amount of acknowledgement and appreciation. Like if it's a book, when a reader praises, feels really happy that they have gained some knowledge or something out of the book, that gives me a kick. Similarly, after a talk, when people come and tell me, your talk was so good, and this is what I gained, and I really loved hearing you, I get excited about that. And so is the case with my coaching as well. When people give me the feedback to say, this is how I felt, I feel so good, and I have improved, I've gained something out of it, that I think that's priceless. It really gives you such a good feeling out there.
That's true. And also that's a measure on how much impact you had on your audience or on your client, right? Or on your reader.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So if there's one book that you would like to recommend to our listeners, maybe a book that changed your life, or maybe a book related to book writing, or any book, what book would that be?
In fact, I think I have three books to recommend.
Okay.
One is one is The Secret, which talks about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
The second book is The Inner Game of Tennis. It's by Timothy Halway. So it's very beautiful, because he talks about this concept of self one and self two, and how you're always the mind is talking to you and doesn't you're not able to give out your best because of this mind interference. So that is some
Mhm.
beautiful thing. It talks about performance and the potential. And the last book which I read recently is The $1 Trillion Coach. It's about Bill Campbell, and I was so enamored. Unfortunately, he's no more, but given a chance, I would have loved to meet him. I mean, he has been the coach for all the Silicon Valley companies, be it right from the Googles to Facebook, and he's coached all the top leaders that we know. I mean, Sheryl Sandberg, Sundar Pichai, so many of them. So, all the top leaders from Silicon Valley have actually penned this book together. It's beautiful, and I really wish I was able to meet Bill Campbell, but yeah, it's too late. But it was lovely reading book. Yeah.
So he's like a legend because he was able to coach all these big names in Silicon Valley.
Yes, yes. And he had his unique style of coaching them.
Right. I think that's one thing. That's one good thing about writing a book. It's actually a legacy. It's a real legacy. So, for example, the author that you mentioned, he's no longer around, but his book's still around, and his teachings can still be taught to the next generation.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So you're writing your next book. What is your favorite writing tool?
Oh, I just go with my computer. So what I do is, if I'm outside and I just get some thoughts, I just make notes of it on my mobile, or, I just scribble little notes wherever I am. And then I need to get into the right frame for writing. So, and I need to be at peace, and, the thoughts that I have, kind of framed already, they just come in a flow. So I am of old school of thought that way. I still prefer my laptop. I just sit and I can write for hours together.
Okay. So on your laptop, is there a favorite app that you use, or do you use?
I'm not a very app person. I'm pretty simple that way because I don't want to, waste my time and energy focusing on other things. So I think a simple Word document is good enough.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, Sangeeta, this has been a wonderful interview. I'm learning a lot from you. If people would like to get you as a coach or invite you as a speaker, or they want to, invite you as a speaker, how can they reach you?
So, through my website, which is www.sss.coach.
Wow, what a beautiful website.
Easy to remember.
That's the initials of your name, right?
Right.
Okay. SSS that coach, amazing. All right, so we'll put it in the show notes as well for the benefit of our listeners.
Absolutely.
And do you also have are you also on social media, Facebook, IG, Twitter, YouTube?
Yes, all my social media handles is called Sang Sha Sum. I know Sha is something we have common.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's an abbreviation of my name, SANGSHASUM. Of course, on LinkedIn, you'll find me as Sangeeta Shankaran Sumesh, and my YouTube channel as well. So I've started sharing some finance tips for people. I know little just short videos where I talk about how they can improvise on their finance aspect.
Okay, cool. So we'll make sure to put all the links in the show notes. And if people would like to buy copies of your books, how can they buy your books?
It's available on Amazon, and even the e-version is available.
Amazon, okay. So I'll search it on Amazon, and we'll put the link as well in the show notes.
Sure.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sangeeta. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and thank you for sharing your valuable insights to our listeners here at the Author's Voice.
My pleasure, Shah. Thanks for having me over, and keep doing the great job that you're doing.
You're welcome. Take care, and see you maybe in India or in the Philippines or Singapore or wherever.
Sure. Catch you soon. Take care. Bye.
All right, did you enjoy the podcast? Let me guess, I'm sure you did. So don't forget to download your free ebook, Why You Need to Write a Book. Simply go to theauthorsvoice.net/book. Again, that's theauthorsvoice.net/book. And I look forward to sending you the ebook.
Thank you for listening to The Author's Voice with Sha Nacino. Make sure to visit theauthorsvoice.net to access the show notes and discover some cool gifts and bonuses for you.